everybody. Welcome to the Player's Take, episode 75. I am your host, Justin DeSimone, joined by my co-hosts. Are they made of cake? Montrell Rice and Tiara Atari. How are you guys doing?
I'm good.
Doing fine.
All right, so proposition for both of you. What are the two? What's the best one you saw and the worst one you saw of the cake meme? So far,
the best one I've saw is the Doom when Doom posted their cake and their little tweet, and it was like,
Yeah.
nope, not cake, and they had it, and they chopped
I
the
like
meme
that
in
one.
half.
That one was cute. Yeah.
Yeah.
The one that I saw today, it was like this thing that looked like cake, but when the lady went to go cut it open, it burst.
Oh yeah, it was like a water balloon. Yeah.
Yeah, and somebody was like, the one thing that was supposed to be cake. I'm going insane.
So Justin, this one might hit home for you, or not hit home, but I don't know if you would be offended by it. So the Boston Celtics posted the
Oh no.
posted a meme, and it was somebody cutting a basketball, and they cut it in half, and it was a watermelon.
Oh man.
And then somebody was like, "Yeah, of course, Boston Celtics would post this." So it was, I'll be able to play on race or whatever.
I think I retweeted that, and I was like, I don't know how, but this is racist.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, yeah. Ones I saw that I hated were somebody made a baby cake, a cake that looked like a baby. That was like a towel.
The head was sliced off.
Yeah, and they sliced the head open. That was horrible. And then they made one that was basically raw chicken, looked like raw chicken.
I
and
saw that one. Yeah.
Legitimately looked like raw chicken. And yeah, I cut it open. It was cake, and it was awful. It was just like chocolate cake, and I wanted to throw up. It was. Yeah, that one was really bad. And then good ones I saw somebody make a video where they poured a glass of water and put it down and immediately cut it, and it was cake.
Yeah, I saw that one. Yeah,
I like that one.
I did not see that one.
That was very good. This meme has been fun. It's been like a week-long progression of this where it's just kind of got out of control.
Yeah,
and it's really taken on its own life. So it's good. I don't even think it's played out yet. I'm still enjoying them. So.
Well, yeah, I have picked up new pickup lines from these memes. I now ask
Oh my
guys,
God.
I must bite you to see if you're a cake.
Yeah, I like that. Yep. Yeah, I saw that one out there. So that question. All right. Well, enough about memes. This is a video game show, and it's our weekly show where we talk about video games, video game news, and other topics pertaining to video games. We post 6 a.m. Central Time on Fridays on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, and your favorite podcast app of choice. We're also on YouTube on Mondays, 6 a.m. Central Time as well. So let's get right into it with what we've been playing. Who wants to start? I can go. Do one of you two want to go? You guys ready to go?
Yeah, there you go.
I mean, I guess I can just start because I've only been playing one thing, and that was Warzone.
Okay. Ooh, you're like into this, huh?
Yes. I mean, I didn't really play that much this week. As we were saying off camera, like, man, these recording days, they just sneak up on you. So, because over the weekend, I had did a 7 hour drive to Ohio to see my best friend. So that's what I was at.
Mm-hmm.
I did that on Thursday, and I came back on Monday.
Yeah.
So I was pretty much away from my house for most of the week. So I didn't get to play that much. But as I said, I'm trying to get better. First person shooters.
Yeah.
Competitive gaming.
I mean, are you winning every other game yet, or no?
Well, winning every other game would be amazing, actually.
Yeah, right. No, that's what I'm saying. You need to be that good.
I gotta say, winning would be finishing first. Every other
winning
game.
it all.
So that would be amazing. But I would say we do be finishing, top 10, at least now. So.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah.
I hope to get into more gaming this week now that I'm back home.
I mean, you better.
You better.
Okay,
Dad.
Fuck you. Okay, Montrell, what the fuck have you been playing, you fucking degenerate? I see Sekiro on here. What, like...
Yeah, man.
This is an obsession.
Already blasted through half the game. So...
He's getting ready for Ghost of Tsushima. I know you.
Yeah, so I already blasted through half the game. I didn't.
You're gonna hate Ghost of Tsushima now. I'm telling you, you are.
I
because
probably
it's not even gonna. It's not going to compare to Sekiro, dude. It's just not.
Yeah, I don't think it's gonna compare parry wise and everything, but I think everything else would be all on par. But
I mean, it's going to be an Assassin's Creed game. That's what it's going to be.
no, so I've been watching gameplay. It is two totally different games. The daytime is different from the nighttime. I'm probably gonna play the daytime sections, and then I'll play the nighttime.
Yeah, some stuff I saw made it kind of look like Arkham a little bit, like where the enemies were like surrounding you and they wouldn't like attack you all at once. It was like, one guy would come up and then you'd fight him, and then another guy would jump in after that. It was like kind of reminded me of that a little.
Arkham games do be doing that.
Yeah, I will say though, I've been watching. I've been on like a samurai type deal, so I've been playing Sekiro, and then I watched like 3 or 4 black and white samurai movies, and the old school ones, like the ones that were like in the 1950s and shit. I love those movies, but they do that in the movies too. Like one person attacks every time when they're surrounded. So I guess that's in line with like how the heritage of that, origin stuff like that. So I mean, I guess it will make sense on video game. But yeah, it is. They do Arkham Knight shit on the actual video game. But I went to immediate blackout for Ghost of Tsushima. Okay. So, but I've been playing that, and then I've been playing a little bit of I thought I had it on there, but I play a little bit more Valorant, and then what game else I got on there? Because I have my
Last of Us 2.
Oh yeah, you can take that off. I was actually playing Last of Us 2. I was gonna play it again, and then I started playing Sekiro, and I fell in love with that game again. So
it's all over for you.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Is that all you've been playing?
Yeah, that's it.
So are you like hyped for Ghost of Tsushima, or are you like?
I am steady. That's the word I will put myself at. I'm not super hyped for it.
Yeah.
I'm not super against it. I want to be hyped for it.
And it don't look like Sekiro, so I'm hyped.
Well, I'm in the same spot. I'm like mid on it. I'm not like really hyped, but I'm also not like, oh, this game looks like crap.
Ghost of Tsushima is a game that I waited for forever. So
okay, the thing is, all the reviews are coming out this week, and it's all just wonderful. Everybody loves this game. Like
I did see some people give it like a 3 out of 5. I did see that.
Yeah.
I did see
that.
But
this is just funny coming off The Last of Us 2, because it doesn't seem like there's any real division on this game. Like most people either like love it or they think it's great. There's no like, there doesn't seem to be like, this is the worst fucking game. They've ruined my life, kind of shit with this game. And it's just interesting though from the critic standpoint. Like most of the big sites gave it very high scores. Even YouTubers seem to be all over this game too.
And the Japanese critics love it.
Yeah,
I did see that. So
yeah, Famitsu gave it a 10, I think, or a perfect score or whatever their scale is. And they've only done that with like 3 games or something or 3 Western games.
Give a game like Ghost of Tsushima.
I would say they would be even more critical of games because that game it's a Western developer making a Japanese type game. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So I would think they would be more critical of it, but I don't know.
Yeah, so I mean, it comes out in 2 days, right? 2 days. So I'm sure we'll have some thoughts on it if we play it, but we'll see about that. So I've been playing 2 games, Brigandine, a lot more. Still playing that a lot. I'm most of the way through my second nation, and I started a third, which I may be doing a Let's Play series of on YouTube potentially. I'm thinking about doing that. So I don't know how long it's going to take me to get those on YouTube and like edit them and stuff, but I started recording them this past week. So I'm really into the game. I like it that much that I kind of want to like put it out there. So so there's that, and then Crosscode came out last week, and I have been playing that as well. I haven't played a ton. I'd probably put in 6 to 8 hours for it, and this game is really good. It is kind of a lot like what I was expecting it to be. It is a really weird game though, in terms of like games that it reminds me of. I have like 4 games in mind when I'm thinking about this game. There's Legend of Zelda, Secret of Mana, Star Ocean, and then this isn't a game, but like Sword Art Online. I have like it's like a cross of all four of those sort of kind of put together into a game, and it's really fun. I think the game is like it controls really well. It's really fun to explore, and it's just got an interesting concept.
Yeah.
So the game, I've told you Montreal this before, that the game's like you're playing an MMO, like you're playing a person playing an MMO, right?
Yeah, yeah.
But this is like a sci-fi universe where humanity is actually like expanded throughout the stars and like found other planets to inhabit.
So like
And
a Mass Effect.
yeah, sort of. The game you're playing though is actually, so this is a weird concept. You're not playing a virtual world. You are playing a avatar that exists on another planet that humanity has inhabited, and they're called seekers is what they're called.
So
But
kind of
they're
like the movie Avatar.
they're real bodies. Yeah, sort of like that. Yeah, they're like real actual bodies that you inhabit and run around in.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. And there are real people in the areas you're running around in, like humans that are alive, like living on this planet, and you do things for them, like the quests
Humans
that you're
plus
given.
seekers.
Yes, the quests that you're given are given by those humans, and you're like helping them, like you're going and killing monsters that are giving them trouble, because the humans can't fight things that the seekers can. The seekers are like engineered basically to be able to fight at a higher level than a human could.
Okay.
You know,
Right.
so yeah, it's really an interesting concept, and
That's actually a really cool story. That sounds
it
really
is,
cool.
yeah. And they haven't like, there's not a lot has been revealed so far about it, but there was a race that lived on this planet before humans got there, and that's what the game
There
is.
always is.
It's like it's almost like a science. It's like almost like a crowdsourced science kind of research. They're trying to figure out this giant like apparatus that the this race left on the planet, and they're trying to figure out how it works. And that's what the game is. You're trying to like go down this, like do this trial that the race left behind to activate this technology, and no one's ever been able to do it. So it's an interesting premise. It's a really interesting premise. A lot more interesting than I was expecting, to be quite frank. So I'm actually really into it from a story perspective as well as gameplay. The gameplay is really cool. It's very reminiscent of MMOs, but it really reminds me of like Secret of Mana more than anything, I'd say. That's definitely the game coming to mind for me more the most. Which is interesting because I actually don't like that game very much, but this game is just so tight, like the way it controls, that it feels really good to play. So yeah, I'm gonna be playing that more. I would recommend it if you're into any of those games I mentioned, because yeah, it does have some Zelda-ish like puzzles and stuff in the game. There's actually a lot of puzzles, and there's a lot of environmental puzzles as well, where you'll be like running around environments and you'll like see a chest up on like a cliff or something, and you need to figure out how to get there, you know. And that's like that's the puzzle. It's like a traversal puzzle. But they're well done though. They're not like oh, this is so obvious. Oh, you know, it's like you actually really have to like figure it out, you know. Like you might have to go to a different screen in order to get there sometimes. So it's pretty cool. And there actually are dungeons in the game too, which is really cool. Just like, you know, like an MMO would have, but also like Zelda would have as well. So yeah, so I recommend that for sure so far.
So I'm gonna wait for your second week analysis on it.
Yeah, we'll see. Dude, I started playing it over the weekend. I was really into it, and then I just got on this Brigandine kick again, man. And I'm like, I can't put this game down, dude. Like, I really cannot put it down. So I'm trying to like transition it into a game that I like turn into a YouTube thing so that I could like make time for it versus like playing it constantly. But I don't know if that's gonna happen. I'm so into it. It's stupid. This is like what happened with you with Sekiro. Like this is what's happening to me with this game. Like it's just, I love these kind of games. So, all right, let's move on into our news. We don't have a lot this week, but we do have some meaty topics, mostly surrounding Ubisoft. So our first story with them is kind of a follow-up to last week, where we talked about sexual assault allegations that have been levied against some high-level people in the company. Well, there's been some fallout this past weekend, and 3 people in particular, these are very high-level people within Ubisoft. I think it's Sergey Haskoet, Yanis Mallet, and Cecile Cornette. These are 3 executives at Ubisoft, have all stepped down So Yanis Mallet is a managing director of Ubisoft's Canadian studios. They're stepping down. And then the head of HR is Cecile Cornett, is also stepping down. And then Sergey Haskowet is the biggest of the three. He is like basically the main creative influence at Ubisoft. He greenlights and cancels games at a whim. He's the guy that does that at Ubisoft. And him stepping down is a huge shift with the company. Not only probably culturally, because that's kind of the main reason they stepped down, is there a lot of things came to light that these people kind of enabled a really abusive culture to happen within the company. That was a hostile work environment. And that's part of the reason they're stepping down. But in terms of Ubisoft, the company and the games they make, I really want to talk about it from that angle. I feel like this is going to change Ubisoft's games, like what they make and how they're made and what they are, because we all know kind of the Ubisoft game, right? The open world Ubisoft game, that has like the collection aspect to it, their open world style, kind of the way they construct their open worlds. It has a very distinct style. You could plot me into a game that I don't know the name of, and if it's an Ubisoft game, I could tell you it's an Ubisoft game probably in 15 minutes.
Yeah.
They're just very distinct. So, I mean, what do you guys think about this? Do you think this will change them, or do you think they will try to maintain kind of what they are?
I think Ubisoft is a juggernaut.
They are.
They're not. I think they are going nowhere no time soon.
Well, I don't think he's trying to say that. I think he's trying to say the style of the games would be played. That would be made rather.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Like their style is going nowhere no time soon.
Okay.
In their eyes, what they've done works.
Yeah.
So
that's true.
Why not? Why not? What's the saying?
Don't change it. Don't
fix it if it's not broken.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. There you go. That's what it is. Yeah. In my opinion, yeah, I agree with Tiara. I don't think anything will change. Now, would I want something to change? Hell, fucking yeah! Like I'm tired of this shit. I'm tired of the safe route they've been doing so far. Not the safe route, it's the stylized approach they've been taking, or the realistic approach they've been taking with their games a lot lately. I think that Hypescape game is probably the most far-fetched game they probably made so far. But everything else is like tied to realism, and I really think they need to. I really think they just need to break away from that, and hopefully with new leadership they will. They can still like keep their hyper realism, but just put a little bit more of like fantasy or whatever the fuck inside their games. A little bit more imagination, rather, I should say, inside their games. That's all I like. I think that would be the perfect Ubisoft game, just like a hyper realism game. Then you have some like weird shit pop off every once in a while, just to keep people on their toes and stuff like that. But that's what I think. I don't think anything drastic is gonna change unless some people come in and just like, yo, I want to do something completely fucking different, and this is not a third. So, but it seems like that may happen, because from what you're saying, that if they're running Ubisoft with a fucking iron hand, then that hand is gone. Maybe people want to do different things now. So I don't know.
Yeah. I don't think this change, if it happens, is going to happen soon. It's going to be a slow thing. Like games coming out in the next few years, they're not going to change, right? I would imagine they're going to maintain their similar trajectory that they have now. But I think new leadership is just going to invite changes, though. Like they could be small. I just don't think it's going to be possible though for them to stay. I think it's just going to be natural that things will change. Whether it's like, I don't think they're going to like make Assassin's Creed like a skating game. No, they're not going to do that. But like, I could see like changes in design philosophy and things like that kind of creep in, things that might have been shut down before might not be shut down anymore, That's like, because that inherently will change based on who they hire to replace this guy. And because that person is not going to have the same sensibilities,
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised 5 years from now we see a completely different side of Ubisoft.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, games could be greenlit now that we would have never thought Ubisoft would make, right?
Yeah.
Like you're saying. So I don't know. I mean, this is a big deal. I'm glad it's happening though, because I think it gives me hope for Ubisoft. Like you're saying, they've kind of pigeonholed themselves into a specific style that is just at times boring.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
like they don't make exciting games. Like I'm not ever over the moon hyped for an Ubisoft game. You know. They make interesting games and they're solid a lot of the time, but they're not doing anything in the space that like other companies can't fill the void with, you know. Like if Ubisoft just disappeared, I really wouldn't be sad about it, you know. Like it wouldn't matter to me.
I'm not gonna say that because Far Cry is amazing.
Yeah, I mean, people have said that. I just
amazing. Like those storylines
I don't
of
get
Far
it.
Cry. Have you played those Far Cry games?
I played Far Cry 3 and 2.
Yeah. Do you feel about that?
So
Do you feel that way about Far Cry 5?
You didn't. I just started. Well, did I just start 5? I did just start 5 because I also just started 3 as well. But I played 4 and I played Primal, and both of those storylines were like amazing. Like some top tier single player games right there in the Far Cry games.
So what's funny about Far Cry? Oh yeah, I'm sorry. Keep going.
Well, I mean,
no, keep going.
Cry, so that's separate.
Yeah.
And then I mean, Assassin's Creed, like, you know, at this point in time, they might as well just label Assassin's Creed a historical simulator. Now, if I think about Assassin's Creed as an historical simulator, 11 out of 10 game as well.
Yeah.
So I'm not gonna say there's nothing to be excited about. So those two franchises always garner a lot of support.
Yeah, I'm just saying for me personally, they're not things that move the needle for me, you know. Like I like Assassin's Creed, I played Odyssey for a bit, like 20 hours or so, and I was very impressed with it, but it doesn't make me excited for Valhalla. Like what I've seen of Valhalla is not really getting me amped, you know, for it.
I will say Valhalla is a lot faster. Yeah, I do like the gameplay being, you know, I like those super stylized games, action games. And I will say Valhalla looks like it's going in that direction. It looks like it's getting more faster. Just the way she was moving with the axes and things of that nature. I like that aspect of it. But like you said, Valhalla looks real rough. The last game I say that Ubisoft put in any imagination into, and that I was like super hyped for when I first saw it, was a Ghost Recon Future Soldier or Advanced Soldier or Advanced Warfare or something like that. It was Ghost Recon Advanced Warfare, and that came out in like 2012 or 2011 or some shit like that.
Ghost Recon Wildlands was.
You said what? You cut off.
I said Ghost Recon Wildlands was amazing.
I didn't like Wildlands because
I loved it.
I played Advanced Warfare. I loved
Wildlands.
Yeah,
I loved how the story was told through the different like little clips when you kill the people. Like it wasn't like actually directly told. Like, and the storyline was amazing. El Sueño was amazing.
I mean, yeah. Then they put Sam Fisher in there, and I was like, "What is he doing in here?" But, but I like Ghost Recon. My favorite one was Ghost Recon Advanced Warfare because, before like anyone was doing that, they did it first, and it was like a third person shooter. But like you can put like a camouflage camo on. Like you had this like little sheet. It wasn't like it didn't camouflage you all the way. It was just like a sheet or a cover that you put on and you were camouflaged completely. And they had some other technology in there that was like far-fetched. And I thought that was really cool for Ubisoft game because they really went out in their imagination as far as technology-wise, what technology can do in like a modern setting. And I really love that. But they never went back to that imagination for like Ghost Recon at all. Like I wanted it to be like in the future or some shit like that. Like I just really wanted to go far, but then they went back and Wildlands came out and I was like, oh, okay, this is what we're doing. Yeah, their games have just been super fucking safe. Even even like For Honor, right? That game when
Oh my god,
I loved that
For
game when
Honor.
that first game came
Love
out.
For
That
Honor.
shit was just like fucking amazing to me.
I'm about to get back on For Honor.
I don't know what happened to that game. Like it was cool for like the first 20 hours I played it. I loved it. And then after that, yeah, I just like kind of dropped it because it's like it's kind of same old samey. Like that's the problem with their games right there.
It's no way you could talk about For Honor was the same old samey. Okay?
It was. This is before they even before they dropped the DLC.
Super different.
Before they dropped the DLC. I didn't play it. I played when they I came back when they dropped the ninjas.
The storyline too. Like
no, the storyline was original. I like that. It wasn't no historical. Yeah, it wasn't no historical shit. That was like a made up storyline. I like that.
That's
but even though the gameplay was like really samey though, even when I was playing online, because I was playing majority online though. That's probably my problem. So but I did like it for what it was. Like I thought that was really cool, and I think they should make a part 2 of that. And if they do make a part 2 of For Honor, I think they should go like really outside their boundaries and make that shit like really fucking cool. Because like you can tell with certain characters, like the ninja characters and stuff like that, they wanted to do some more stuff, but they had to keep it within the realm of reality. And I really want them to just like kind of drop that reality aspect. But that's just me.
It is a real game.
I know.
They fight like real people. It's not like a beat 'em up type game.
I don't want it to be a beat 'em up type game. I just want it to be like a little bit more
real combos, pairing.
Yeah, but I think that's Montrell's problem is they do this with every game they make. They make it all feel as realistic as they can, and sometimes games don't need that. Like you don't need every game. You don't need games to just like I can go outside and like swing a sword myself like and see how it feels. Like I don't necessarily want my game to feel that way all the time.
I guess that can be there too.
I mean, I get that. I say that about driving games.
Yeah, right.
I say that when it comes to like forts and stuff, those are not my type of games. If I wanted to drive, I would go in my car. Sometimes you want a game that's a bit more cartoony. Like I said, I like Burnout.
Yeah.
If you're gonna make 5 third-person shooters, and they're all fucking hyper realistic third-person shooters that are tactical cover-based shooters, like you're not differentiating these games from each other at a certain point, and that's kind of Ubisoft's problem a lot of the time. That's kind of what they don't do,
Yeah, I mean, like one can argue though that that's what you go to Ubisoft for, right? Like I go to Ubisoft for that.
That might be their niche.
Yeah, that might be their niche. Like the reason I'm looking so forward to the Watch Dogs is because that shit is insanely wacky in my opinion. And then the gunplay, the gameplay looks like John Wick. Like when I watch John Wick, I'm like, there's no video game that can emulate that. But now I have Watch Dogs Legion to emulate that John Wick gameplay that I really want. They call it gun fu in the choreography world. Like
that's what it's called.
Yeah,
it comes from that movie. I can't remember it, but I'd like that movie too.
Yeah.
But it was the actual style of fighting inside that movie.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Because like in the stunt world, the stunt person world, or like choreography world, because my friend he does mocap for his own stuff and everything like that, and he's like actual stunt choreographer as well. He said it's called gun fu. So like people practice that. And I like that shit, and it looks really cool. But there's just not really a video game that emulated it. The closest I got to it was Resident Evil 6. That's the closest I got to it with Leon's gameplay. Besides that, you really don't have any other games. So I am looking forward to that, and I think Watch Dogs Legion.
What about Devil May Cry, or is that not what you're thinking of?
That's not really it.
Okay.
Yeah.
You mean like you want like an actual shooter that has like some cool.
Yeah, like you know how John Wick moves, right? Like how everything's just like really fluid, but it's like realistic, and that's what I want. Like Devil May Cry is like zany as fuck. Like that shit would never fly in Devil May Cry, but like like the Watch Dog. If you watch the recent Watch Dog Legion gameplay, that's what I want, and they're gonna do that. So I'm glad. Like to me, that's even a surprise from Ubisoft, to be honest with you, because they're so generic in the way they make stuff. I don't know. I just want them to have a little more imagination. Like I don't need fucking Last of Us shit, right? I don't need zombies everywhere. I don't need all that shit. But like, if I was playing a Division, right? Like, why can't I get like a mutated guy? He's not a zombie or anything like that, but he's just like mutated to where everyone's looking like, what the fuck is wrong with him? And like, just give me that every once in a while when I'm playing a Division. But
or like an actual. I think the Division's problem too is like they didn't have like a real antagonist, It's just a bunch of like groups of assholes running around with guns. Like it's not they're not interesting antagonists, Like that there's that guy that they always I feel like what's his name? There's that agent who like went rogue or whatever.
yeah,
And he's kind of like hinted at as like a major antagonist. And I think the DLC might have gone into him a little bit more. But it's like I want that in the game, Like maybe he's actually trying to make like society fall apart. And why would he be doing that? That's an interesting plot line, or that might be an interesting like thread to follow, but they don't follow that. They just want this like sandbox where you're fighting a bunch of firefighters who decided to pick up guns and be criminals. Like,
and I actually thought that was cool, but I feel like in the second one they deviated from that. Like I thought in the first one, like having firefighters become their own faction, that was fucking cool. Like you could have the police become their own faction or the ambulance become their own faction, and they have their own specific things they do. So I thought that was really cool in the first game. But then the second game, it did just turn to a whole bunch of militia assholes everywhere, and like, we're just fucking shit up, and it's like, this is okay, I guess. Like, this is what we're doing now. Like, so I don't know. Like, we were playing like the Sons of Liberty, and it was just it got really, really tamed, I would say, because I wanted to go to Washington and like maybe I'm fighting the FBI or some shit like that, and then you got the CIA who has secret weapons or some shit like that. Like that would have been fucking cool.
Washington D.C. And the best you can come up with for factions in Washington D.C. is a bunch of military dudes. Like, come on.
Yeah,
you could have like real espionage shit going on, finding out like really fucked up shit that the government like made this happen on purpose to like have a coup or something like that. Like they didn't do anything like that, it's just that nothing happens in there. So it's like, I don't know. Ubisoft does that a lot where they are safe. They do the safe thing.
Well, you remember they did that with Assassin's Creed 3, right? Where they had
that was a horrible game.
Wait, you said what? That was a horrible game?
That was a horrible game.
Well, the 3 was. I'm talking about the storyline. Like, the storyline was really cool. I liked Assassin's Creed 1 through 3 storyline with Desmond. Because I thought it was like some conspiracy.
That part was cool.
Yeah, it was like some conspiracy shit. Like, they had to find these pieces, and this magic piece would do this. And it was like, it was some real conspiracy shit. Like, this artifact can rule the world and has some kind of power to it, like almost like a fucking Yu-Gi-Oh! Millennial puzzles type shit, right?
Yeah.
Right.
And then they just scrapped that whole idea, and then it turned into like Tiara said, a historical simulator, and they just scrapped all that shit.
Odyssey had no hint of that at all.
Yeah.
It should have ended after 3.
Yeah, it should have, because that's why I didn't like the games after that. Even though I love Black Flag from a gameplay standpoint, Tiara was right. Yeah, that game's like the best it's the best Assassin's Creed. You got the ships, you got the sailors singing with you, and you can customize your ship and all that shit. That shit was fucking awesome.
I'm about to say, even Edward, likable protagonist.
All that shit was like really cool, but it had nothing to do with the main plot. And outside of the Assassin's Creed, because there was 2 plots in Assassin's Creed. You had the one where you were actually playing as assassin, and then you had Desmond's plot.
But that's what I used to tell people. I used to be like, people forget that the actual game of Assassin's Creed is supposed to be centered around Desmond.
Yeah.
Like the player that you play as, or your ancestor or whatever, that's secondary. That wasn't even the primary.
That wasn't exactly.
Like, and that's why I think Assassin's Creed was so cool, because remember Assassin's Creed 1, you're in Abstergo, you're in a thing. And as the game progresses, you're gaining memories and stuff. And then when a girl, Lucy, is revealed to be on your side, like that stuff was like super unique. And then, like you said, they just scrapped it. Desmond dies, and then that was it. Yeah,
because it was playing into I don't know if y'all remember that whole YouTube conspiracy thing where they thought when everybody was in the Illuminati, it was like playing into that shit too. So, like, it was just a really cool concept they had going, then they scrapped it. Like, for historical
simulation. Reminds me of. Because I remember those games. I never played them, but I remember the conversation around those games. And I remember there was a very large, loud, vocal minority who hated the non-historical stuff. They hated the like Abstergo or whatever the hell the stuff that took place like in the future / current day.
They
They
hated
hated
that?
that storyline. Yes,
Wow.
I remember this, and I know there was a lot of criticism around those games based on that too, and that it makes me wonder if they scrapped that stuff because they thought people didn't like it. But what it reminds me of though is Kingdom Hearts, because there is a vocal minority of people, I don't even say a majority in Kingdom Hearts case, that fucking hate the anime shit with Sora and Riku and all these other characters, and they just want the Disney world. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's
And
true.
Square hasn't listened on that front because they do have a very rabid vocal base that loves the anime shit, and we are a part of that. But I think it's a similar kind of thing there, because I think that criticism was levied against Assassin's Creed for every game that I remember following, because I did follow these games. I always wanted to play them, but they always I don't know, they just always fell through the cracks for some reason for me. But and then eventually, they just dropped those storylines. And playing Odyssey, it was like the beginning of the game. You play, you see somebody in the modern day talking with someone else, and then she puts on, I don't even know, whatever, the headset or whatever.
Yeah, the
Yeah, the
Animus.
Animus or whatever, and goes back in time. And I assume you never see that character again until the end of the game. That's kind of what my assumption was, because for all
they
intents
have
and
to
purposes,
come out because you get sickness being an Animus.
Okay.
Well, I don't know if they do it in the original or in the newer games though. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
No, they say it. They say that's why you occasionally. That's always their reasoning for coming out. Like,
Okay.
Yeah.
But to say that, I noticed that as well. I was like, in playing it, I'm like, okay, are we even looking for the piece eaten anymore? Like, whatever happens.
Yeah,
Yeah,
there was no inkling of anything like that.
Yeah, they had a whole storyline, Justin, of like the Templars versus, like, I don't know if you play the newer games. I don't even know if they have them in the newer games.
But now it's just like nobody's, because Edward was the first character that wasn't even an assassin. Cassandra isn't even an assassin.
Yeah.
They're like mercenaries, and it's just like, okay.
Well, there's no. This is another problem with Odyssey. As much as I like it, there wasn't really an antagonist. There isn't really an antagonist for a while. Like, the game just kind of starts, and you're like running around this island, like your home island or whatever, and for some reason something pushes you off the island. And there you go. You're off on your adventure.
Trash. You're like, I got to do better than island.
Yeah, right.
Like, the reason to me the first couple of Assassin's Creed were so great is because you had this overarching theme of the Templars versus the Assassins, and
that's right.
Yeah, and like I said, that Millennium puzzle piece that you had to find that could rule the world, and that kind of motivated. Yeah, that motivated me to play the game more, because I wanted to know more about it. Not only were you finding out stuff in the past, but granted, people were writing their criticisms of the future because it was kind of boring. As far as like Desmond's movements were limited, he couldn't really do anything. But that served as a narrative piece, in my opinion. They could have done more. They could have made Desmond, like, as he got his memories back, he started doing Assassin's Creed shit in the future, and they could have had like an Assassin's Creed in the future.
That does happen though. When he fully syncs up, he's able to use his Assassin's Creed ability.
Oh, it does happen in 3, right?
Yes, that does happen.
Okay.
No, I mean, it's not 3. It happens at the end of 1 when he fully synced up with his first ancestor, which is Altair.
Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah, you're right.
And then he's able to do the stuff.
Yeah.
But it goes to that point. It's for me, it's always the canon. The minute you break the canon, I can't deal. Like, so.
Yeah, because everyone, and then they was like, oh well, we started seeing that other assassins in the world, and that's when Assassin's Creed Black Flag, because Black Flag, you're a nameless NPC,
right? And so that's what I'm saying. And so for the first Assassin's Creed, right, the whole issue is Desmond is like one of like
the best
handful of people that is in this line that they can only access his DNA. Like, it has to be him, and that's the only way that it works. And that's that's the whole thing about it. And that's why you can't play him. And so in the first Assassin's Creed, there are areas that are blocked out because you haven't synced up that part of the memory.
That was cool too.
It made sense. It's cool.
My Kingdom Hearts corollary feels very good here.
Yeah, so it's like it made sense, So as you play the game, you sync it up, and then it tells you, for instance, like, oh, if you kill a civilian, oh, Altair didn't do that. If you do too many things outside of the memory, you desynchronize. Makes sense.
Yep.
Now in Assassin's Creed, you kill any fucking body.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, that's what I'm talking about. It's the canon. Like, and so at first it was only Desmond people, only people. And then, and that's why it was the bleeding effect. You can't stay into the animus long because you start to blend the animus reality, and then you go insane, which is the ancestor, not the ancestor, the person that came before Desmond, he suffered from the bleeding effect. Subject 16 or whatever, and Desmond was subject 17, and so it made it so that was cool. It was like, okay, we know why it has to be Desmond. Then all of a sudden, Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag, anybody can use the animus.
Yeah,
was. You know what I'm saying? Like, that made no sense.
Because even if I recall right, even your character, he or she didn't have any DNA. They were accessing memories already on file, right?
Right.
Yeah.
They were accessing they were accessing Desmond's DNA, because remember in Assassin's Creed 3 he dies, Abstergo retrieves his body. And that's the thing. In Assassin's Creed 4, you're working for Abstergo. And it's like crazy, because it's like you spend all these games talking about Abstergo being an enemy. Now we working for Abstergo.
Exactly.
Like, I'm telling you, like, the canon that irritates me, because it's a sign of poor writing. Like, it's very easy to maintain your own canon. You wrote it.
Yeah, it's like they didn't have any more excuses to go back into the past, and they just was like, well, fuck it, you can just go in the past anyway, like.
Right. And then now, right, and then now it's like, Odyssey, or you just find some blade, and it got 2 DNA on it. Like, what? Pick one. What? Really?
Yeah, no, she's not even lying. That's how it is, and it's like, that's why, as much as I like the Assassin's Creed Origins and Odyssey, and I like the new style of it, it's
like
just,
I like them for historical simulators.
Exactly.
I don't like them for what they trying to be.
They don't have an overarching plot.
But that's what we're talking about. That's what Ubisoft's turned into. They all their games are simulators. I'd say Far Cry is the only one that really isn't.
Yeah.
Like, because that game does get kind of crazy in terms of gameplay and some of the shit that happens in those games, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Whereas like the Division, Tom Clancy games, Assassin's Creed, they're not really doing anything zany. Like, it's very realistic gameplay, very realistic settings, realistic characters, or characters attempting to be realistic. Whether they succeed or fail is a different question. But yeah, so that just seems like Ubisoft's MO. But I guess let's transition this into talking about Ubisoft Forward, because this is very relevant to what they showed. So this was happening this weekend. It was about a 45-minute presentation. They showed a few games. The first one was Watch Dogs Legion. They showed extensive gameplay again from it, about 15 minutes of some stuff from this game. What did you guys think of it? Are you excited about this game, and do you think they can pull off what they're showing here?
So what we're talking about, Legion? Yeah. Legion. I don't. So Watch Dogs is honestly the starter of all this. We show a trailer, and then that trailer doesn't happen in video games. Remember because the first Watch Dogs was like that. So, as much as I like the second Watch Dogs, I'm not sure if Legion can pull it. Like, I'll say I'm hopeful, right? Like, I don't want to be super negative. Like, they're not going to be able to pull this shit off. Like, I really do hope this shit gets pulled off, the shit that they're saying, because if they can pull this shit off, then this would probably be the greatest open world game I've probably ever play. You know what I'm saying? So
they are being, the way they're talking about it is extremely ambitious. Like, things are so basically, the conceit of the game is that you don't play as a character. You play a team of people, basically, that you can recruit. And their claim is that you can recruit anyone. You can recruit any NPC in the game to this organization called DedSec, who are trying to rebel, basically, against it seems like a private military organization that was brought in to bring peace to London, but then ended up just taking over London, like, forcibly. So, and the idea that you can, recruit any NPC is, I think what they've said is that, like, this stuff is not scripted the way a normal game would script NPC interactions. It's created on the fly based on who you talk to, and then, Like they'll create like an intro mission, a recruitment mission for a certain character, and then you can recruit said character, and then they'll have like dialogue that is unique to them. Like the game like makes that as you're playing, I guess. It just seems wild to me. I don't know. It seems like a lot to pull off, particularly on current gen. Next gen, I might be able to believe it, but I don't know. I want to believe this game is going to be what they've shown. Like I really do, because it looks really cool. Like if it is, I'm very interested in this game. And this is very much outside of their kind of MO that we've been talking about here the last few minutes. Like this game is like really weird and zany and has like really cool. Like there's a lot of different gameplay types you can have within this game based on what they've shown. You know, with the different characters. So I don't know. Like, do you guys feel like it's like how close do you think they'll get? Do you think they're actually going to pull this off, or do you think it's just going to be like some of it's going to work, some of it's not, or is it going to be like a disaster? You know, like janky as shit, buggy, broken, like character dialogue doesn't work sometimes, like because I feel like that's a distinct possibility here.
No, considering that Ubisoft has done that before, like with Assassin's Unity.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah,
that is true.
I'm going to say that I think it's an ambitious game, too ambitious for Ubisoft, and I'm going to say it's going to be buggy.
Yeah.
And I think that it's going to be buggy and janky at first.
And then they're going to fix
it's going to get better.
Yeah.
And then I think it's going to get better, because that's what happens with their games sometimes. You know, it may be janky at first, but they don't stay janky. So I think that when it first comes out, there's going to be a bunch of issues. But as time goes along and updates after updates after updates, it's going to get better. So.
For the most part, I agree with Tiara. I think it's gonna. I would say I don't think it's gonna be buggy. What I think is gonna happen is, which is kind of fucked up, but I think it is gonna be scripted. Like each NPC you get, like
I agree with
they're gonna be under a certain category, like in the background of the coding.
I think they're lying about this. Like
yeah, and I think like if you recruit like an old lady or old man, they're gonna say something around the same thing the same time all the time.
They showed that. They showed that in this video. If you watch the video, there's a point where they show like 3 different characters engage in the same dialogue, and they basically say the exact same line just with a different voice.
Yeah,
and yeah, that it makes me think they're going to be pulling that stuff from like a pool of voices, and you're going to hear the same voice like 80 different times on like 80 different characters.
Yep.
And they're going to say the same thing as another character would say, like a male versus a female. They're going to say the same thing, but it's just a different voice. And that I think that's what's going to happen. And it's going to be because you can script that. You could totally script that if you did it that way.
Yeah.
You know, you're just pulling which audio file is related to the character you're playing as, that the game like assigned to it.
Yeah.
I think it's possible. I just think the way they're describing this game just feels like it's not possible, you know?
Yeah, I think they're going to have
generating dialogue and stuff. That seems insane.
Yeah,
you know?
that does seem crazy. And then the voices on top of that too, right? I mean, I know I have been ever since that game dropped, or like the trailer first dropped last year, I have been interested in that, and there is AI out there that can simulate voices, different dialogue and things of that nature. So that technology is out there. Problem is, I don't know if we can put it in video games yet. Yeah. And I just don't think I think there will be maybe now they may have thousands and thousands of scripts and certain trees set up, or certain script trees set up where there's almost 100,000 scenarios set up to 100,000 possibilities. But I just feel like it's not going to be procedurally generated. There's just 100,000 possibilities of things that's going to happen, and the player is probably going to hear that same dialogue 4 or 5 times.
Yep.
That's just what I think. Now, I don't want people to kill me who are game designers and, indie game designers. I know how hard it is to make a video game. I'm just saying this is what they're telling us, and this is what I'm going off them telling us. If they can pull off this, then great. If they can't, then just be honest and say, yeah, we scripted 500,000 possibilities. I would be happy if you tell me that instead of saying, "Oh, this is procedurally generated." No, it's not. Just it's 500.
Yeah, dude, when you say that, what I think of is like the game is like making dialogue trees on the fly, and that just seems impossible at this point. Like that I mean, yeah, that seems crazy to me, dude. We can't even procedurally generate environments. Like you know, that's like let's start there before we're jumping to like dialogue and stuff. So I don't know. I want to believe it. I do, but I have a feeling it's just going to be very very complicated scripting. You know, that is like obfuscated by how many options there are. You know, but I bet you when people deep dive into this game, and people will deep dive into this game, they're gonna figure out the system that Ubisoft created. You know,
I'm waiting for someone to what do you call it? Not data leak, but when you go inside the data of the disk or something like that. I forgot what it's called, the term for it. Data mine.
Data mine, yeah.
Yeah, I'm waiting for someone to data mine it once they get it on PC. I know someone's gonna do it, and I want to see if they actually have a script or something for that for procedurally generated voices, or if it's just like I said, even if it's a million voices or a million dialogue trees. If that's the case, like I really want to see that. So I mean, we have to wait until October, but
yeah, because if you did procedurally generated voices, that kind of like intimates that they're doing procedurally generated characters like NPCs as well, and that just seems implausible to me that they're procedurally generating names, voices, character models, character animations, their class and what abilities they have and all that stuff, and they're doing that for everybody that you can recruit in this game. That just seems I don't know. I mean, maybe it makes sense. I guess it just really depends on how big this game is, you know.
Yeah.
That's really my wonder is how big is the map and how many people are in it, you know. That's kind of the key, I guess, for that is how believable that is. So I'm with you. I'm interested to see what data miners can find for this game when it comes out, which they did announce a date for it. It's coming on October 29th this year, 2020. And I'm not going to pick this game up at launch, definitely not, but I'm going to be very curious about it. I'm going to be following its progress closely for sure. So all right. After that, they showed Brawlhalla real quick. That game's coming to mobile. If you're interested in that, that's like the Smash Brothers esque like 2D fighter.
Great value, Smash Brothers.
Yes, yeah, definitely. And then my heart got ripped open because they showed Might and Magic, and they showed it's been reduced to a mobile game franchise at this point. So fuck Ubisoft. I'm just saying that. Then they showed something called Tom Clancy's Elite Squad. I have no idea what this is. It looked mildly interesting, I guess. But then they did a montage for Rainbow Six Siege. Game's been out for 6 years, so they just wanted to celebrate that. And then there were 3 more games they showed. These are the big ones, I guess. The first one was Hyperscape. And I want to talk about this one because the setting they set up here is that this game takes place in 2054. And the world is a darker place. Bad things happened at some point, in the near future of like the present day, and things got fucked up. But humanity's not like dead or anything. It's not like post-apocalyptic, but society's different, and it's like a little bit harder to live in the real world. So this company made a thing called the Hyperscape that it basically feels like a VR wonderland, that you can run around in. But the crux of the game is that it's a battle royale. It's a multiplayer battle royale shooter. And the story they presented here is that you're in the Hyperscape trying to like increase your status to get higher up within the Hyperscape. And I don't know, like, and that somehow helps you in reality or something along those lines. And it sounded really interesting to me. And then they said it was a battle royale. And I was like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, you make this like really interesting lore and world and setting and all this stuff, and it's a BR. Like what? I don't know. I mean, what did you think of this? What did you guys think of this game?
I mean, I watched the gameplay of it. I don't know. I mean, it's another VR. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like it's someone VR with a flare on it.
Yeah.
And it looks like I don't know. I don't even know what to say about it. Like, it looks cool, but it looks like it's cool in a way of it's like 3 years too late. Cool.
Yeah, I know, right?
You know.
Yeah, I feel the same.
Well, okay, I'm gonna pose the question to you guys. So if they had had that same lead up and it wasn't a BR and it was like a single player game, would that interest you more? Where it's like a story driven game? Because to me, that's what I was hoping for when they were talking about this, and it was like I was really into the concept, you know, as you're trying to figure out like what the hyperspace is and like what they're doing with the hyperspace, the company that makes it and whatever. And then yeah, it's a BR. It's like, I mean,
So they don't have any single player aspect to the game at all.
I mean, they didn't show anything along those lines, you know. And it makes me wonder if maybe they're planning on injecting more story into this than most BRs generally do. And that's kind of their approach to differentiate themselves, which would be interesting. But at the same time, it's like wrapped up in a multiplayer shooter. I just don't know how you would do that effectively, you know. Like Apex has tried it recently, but and it's done okay, but it's like nothing. It's not great, you know. So I don't know. I was disappointed.
Yeah, I just think they're a little bit too late because when I'm looking at it, I'm like, I just want to play Apex. Like when I'm looking at that game, so
yeah,
maybe if like this game came out before Apex dropped, I would be like, oh man, this is cool. But like now that Apex is already established and we have Fortnite that's already established, I mean, it definitely differentiates itself from Fortnite, but to me,
not from Apex though.
Not from Apex, exactly, because Apex is a futuristic shooter as well. So
the speed of it looks just like Apex.
Yeah. So
the only difference are some of the power ups that you can use.
Yeah.
Which might be their differentiating gameplay piece. But it didn't look interesting enough for me to care, though. It was just, it almost looked like chaotic, you know, which doesn't seem, it's not like didn't seem fun to me. Like it was just like a bunch of people in a courtyard firing at each other, you know?
Yeah.
It's like, kind of weird. So, yeah. All right. So then there were two more. Actually, that game Hyperscape, by the way, is already in open beta on PC, so you can check that out already if that is interesting to you. The next one they showed was Assassin's Creed Valhalla. They showed about 10 minutes of this. A lot of cinematic stuff about the story, and they did show some gameplay. And then they showed even more gameplay after the stream was over, about 30 minutes of it. It was very enlightening for me. Definitely got me more interested in the game than I was. But did you guys have any thoughts about this one? I know we were just talking about Assassin's Creed a lot.
I'm about to say, well, like I said, as of now, I just think of Assassin's Creed games as historical simulators. So in that regard, I'm excited for Valhalla.
That's so cool how you can just switch it like that. Yeah, sweet.
Yeah, I'm very much into anything that's Viking related. So that already caught my attention. So yeah, I just may buy day one. Honestly, I never buy Assassin's Creed 1 anymore. I normally wait like a year after they come out. They're like $20. Then that's when I buy them. But I just may get this game day one. It all depends too if it comes like if the next gen are released during that time. Then I'll probably definitely get it day one.
I can't remember in Assassin's Creed Odyssey. Did they even show the Animus? Like, do you remember, Justin?
Yes,
it's like a portable
Animus. It's a portable Animus.
At the very beginning of the game, and that's all I saw of it in my 20 hours of playing it. And it was literally like a 2-minute cutscene, and then bam, you're in Greece. Like that was it.
And then she jury rigs the Animus. Look. Let's not talk about that.
Okay. Let's not talk about it.
Sorry, go ahead, Montrell.
I think they should just start making naming a different series. I don't think it should be called Assassin's Creed anymore.
Agreed.
Yeah, I think they should just start.
You're not even playing assassins anymore. Like this person you're playing is not an assassin. They're not a part of the creed, and neither was the last characters you played as Cassandra / Alexei.
Alexio,
yeah, right. Neither one of them were assassins either. So
we don't even they don't even explain how they got their assassin-like abilities.
Right. Yeah.
So
well, no. Okay. Well, that's explained because
they did. Okay.
They're all of the characters that you play as an Assassin's Creed, they're from like the hybrid line, like the other people.
Okay.
They're from the hybrid line, so from the other people's side, that's where they get all their abilities from.
Okay.
Yeah.
And it's supposed to be like all these historical figures or whatever. Like Cassandra was the granddaughter of Leonidas. the guy who died in the 300.
Okay.
And so she was his granddaughter. So that's the thing with all these prominent figures are like descendants of all these people.
Okay, that makes sense then.
But this game, I'd say from a gameplay standpoint, I am much more interested in it than I was. The whole raid mechanic and the fact that you have like a crew with you and you can like invade forts with like an army, kind of gives me shades of like Middle Earth, Shadow of Mordor.
I was just about to say
War.
that. Yeah.
Yeah. I didn't play those games, but that's kind of what it reminded me of.
That's exactly what it's like. I don't know if you remember me saying. I don't know if you remember me saying a couple podcasts ago about how Ubisoft
they copied Witcher 3. Yeah.
Yes,
yeah.
but that mercenary aspect of when a mercenary dies and then another one takes place, that came right from Shadow of Mordor.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
These people are plagiarists. Is that a word?
Yeah, that's a word.
Okay.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, it's fair, I'd say.
Man,
she's right though, because I remember Shadow of War. They had an online mechanic where you can raid people's castles and stuff like that, and it was cool. Even on the NPC side, the single player side, you recruit certain orcs and stuff like that. And
you open loot boxes and you got orcs out of them.
Yeah. And I like that aspect of the game. To be honest with you, that's the only reason I played Shadow of War for so long. I just hated how everything, like the XP boosters, and I hated all that fucking shit. Like, it just slowed down the game. But the actual, I've been wanting this since I played Assassin's Creed Brotherhood. So Brotherhood, you had the same kind of mechanic, right? You had a crew. Okay. Yeah, so a lot of people don't know that, but like in Brotherhood, you had Ezio, which is probably my favorite.
That's why it was called Brotherhood.
Yeah, you had which is my favorite assassin, Ezio. He's probably like a fan favorite for a lot of people, honestly.
He is. Not myself.
But you had a crew with you, and then they kind of expanded upon that in Revolution. But you did have a crew with you, and you can do certain attacks with them and everything of that nature. But it wasn't to the scale of like raiding or whatever. In this game, I do like that aspect of it, but that's why I said they should just call it another game. Like, they should just call it Valhalla or some shit like that. Just call it that.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Odyssey, Valhalla. Yeah, those would be cool names.
If we could just go right back. I don't know if you remember or if you played the first Assassin's Creed the way it was supposed to be played. Like, when you got information, it told you to do something specific in that assassination.
Yeah.
Like you would go to the different DNA segments to see what the stuff you got. Remember, you would interrogate people. It was all on a hush because you were assassin. Like, these games are super boisterous now. Like you said, they're not even assassins no more. I was like, whatever happened to the assassination? Whatever happened to gaining information to figure out who your target was? To, like,
I mean, you're like a warrior king / queen in this one. Like, there's
it doesn't say you're just a warrior.
And there was a mechanic they showed where you like put your hood up and you walk around. You walk around enemy towns and no one knows it's you. Oh, okay. I guess a hood, like this idea that a hood obfuscates you enough where people wouldn't be able to recognize you is fucking hilarious.
So I do want to be that guy, and I want to say how a lot of us are hypocrites, because now I'm saying on Twitter, everyone's like, oh my god, remember the old Assassin's Creed games? Like, what happened to like the Ezio style Assassin's Creed games? And I'm like, I remember when that game was out, when those style of games were out, maybe by the fourth one or the third one, everyone and their mama, including me, was like, they need to change this shit up because it's only so much time we can do this Assassin's Creed shit, right? Like,
no, I was not that person.
You wasn't that person. I remember I was that person. I was like, I didn't want them to change it all the way up, but I was like, I wanted them to change it up to the point where it's like just a little bit different. Like, I still want it to be Assassin's Creed, but just like add a little flair to it, whatever the case may be. And then Origins came out, and I mean, I like I said, I like Origins. I like the style of the new Assassin's Creed game. It's just not Assassin's Creed, but I do remember that. And now it's just funny that everybody coming back around, they're like, "Oh, I want the old style back," and I'm like, and I'm part of that crew too. So it's just like, I don't know what we can do I don't know what they can do, the developers, to be honest with you. Like, I'm on the side of both, right? I'm on our side where it's like, like, I like this new style of Assassin's Creed, but it's not Assassin's Creed. But then on the developer side, it's like, well, y'all wanted something different, so what are we supposed to do? So just in the franchise, bro, make Odyssey. Just call it Origins or whatever. And I play Egypt or some shit. Yeah,
I'll put an AC on it.
Exactly.
It's not. Like that's a loaded name. Like that name has a meaning to some people that's different from
And
other
you know
people.
what's so funny? And maybe this will resolve itself when I finish Odyssey, but Origins was supposed to be about him being the first assassin.
Yes,
right?
it was.
Okay.
It was.
Okay, but then Odyssey takes place before Origins.
That's what I'm saying. Like they just keep going back and back.
The canon.
Yeah. So it's like
keep the canon consistent from one game to the sequel.
What they could have done was
crazy.
they could have made it a spin-off. Like, oh, this is a spin-off of the Assassin's Creed games. This is not an Assassin's Creed game. It's in the same universe as Assassin's Creed, though. Like, they could have did that shit. And I would have been totally cool with that. I think that would have been enough to carry the franchises on their own. Whereas, like, yeah, we're going to make these historical... Yeah, like Tiara said, like, these are historical franchises now. We're just going to make Odyssey, and Odyssey take place.
Remember when they used to actually chop off their finger to be an assassin?
Yeah, they don't even do that shit anymore. Like that was the thing. Well, you remember in the fourth
they
one.
brought that back in Origin. Like, and it turns out the guy accidentally did it when he was playing with the blade. He didn't know the blade came out. He accidentally chopped his finger off, and then everybody ran with it. But I was okay. I said, okay, I see it. But now it's just like, dang, whatever happened to chopping your finger off?
Yeah, so that was a whole lore thing too, Justin. So, the hidden blade, right? I think your middle finger was cut off. Because that's
the ring finger.
Oh, it was the ring finger? Okay, the ring finger was cut off, and that's because that's where the hidden blade had to go, and they couldn't figure out, how to get the hidden blade, just to eject regularly without your finger coming off. And then I think they fixed it in like 4. Did they fix it in 4?
Well, no, it was just that in Origins, because that was supposed to be the first time he actually had the hidden blade, and he accidentally pushed it or something like that, and it chopped his finger off.
But remember they fixed it. Like they fixed the whole lore wise. They fixed why they don't chop their ring finger off anymore. I can't remember.
They?
Yeah, it was a whole lore thing.
Because in the first Assassin's Creed, it was just a symbol of you becoming an assassin. Like,
yeah.
You didn't have the hidden blade didn't get in the your fingers didn't get in the way of the hidden blade. It was just that now that it was like a rite of passage. Like okay, and when you become an assassin, all right, we chop your finger off. Like it was like a rite of passage type thing.
Maybe that was it.
Like Yakuza, Yakuza.
But then they stopped that. Like I remember playing like Rogue, and
all of a sudden everybody got their fingers.
Yeah, everybody got the fingers now. So it's like you said, the Kingdom Hearts thing. This is Kingdom Hearts, like in real life, right? Like the realism Kingdom Hearts. Because remember when Sora got his Keyblade, that was like the only Keyblade, but now in like 350 over 8, everyone has a fucking Keyblade.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
So, I mean, I don't know. It's just weird. I think they should just start calling these games like the next game that comes out. I guarantee it's probably gonna take place in Japan because now that Ghost of Tsushima happened, they're like, oh, we need to cash in on that shit.
Fucking. Oh my god, no! Do China or something like
they already did China. They already did China. I tell everybody that all the time. They already did China. They did China in one of their spin-off games.
Yeah, no, I know which one. I know what you're talking about. That's like a 2D side scroller, though. No, that doesn't count. That doesn't fucking count.
I'm telling you, they're
like a real one in China or something, dude. Like you don't have to go to Japan. Don't do that. Don't do that, Ubisoft. Don't fucking do that.
It's only so many. I think the next place they're probably gonna go is like southern India because I don't think they visited that area yet. Like Thailand or southern India.
Do something. I know they did the colonial times, but like maybe they should do something more forward than that. Maybe like Civil War or something. That could be cool.
They did Assassin's Creed.
Oh my god!
On the PSP, you played as a.
No, that was in like the early 1800s, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was
playing. You play in oh my god!
You play as that mixture. Huh?
Right. You play in New Orleans, right?
Rogue. It was like Rogue.
It was
China.
Liberation.
Yeah,
Liberation. Yeah, I thought that was the Civil War.
But that was supposed to be a spinoff.
That was a spinoff. Wasn't it a spinoff?
3.
Yeah, it was a spinoff from 3. That's what I'm saying. I'm pretty sure it was around the same time period as 3, which was colonial. So, but anyways,
but that was Revolutionary War in 3 because there's George Washington in it.
Yeah. Let's get back to Valhalla because we're kind of getting off track.
Yeah, we get off track. Yeah.
So this game, don't
I
I
like
like
it.
what they showed. I like what they showed. I
It
just
does
think
look janky.
the game looks surprisingly janky. Like it's weird that it's coming out in 4 months. They said it was coming out November 17th. And yeah, it looks really janky even on the footage they showed. Like animations don't look complete. Like there's some weird clipping and like things don't look fluid. The game's kind of laggy too. It's like I don't know.
would just say in 2020 there should be zero clipping.
No,
None.
you're right.
It should not exist. Given the power of these consoles, and then you want us to spend all this money on, there should be zero clipping.
Last of Us 2 figured it out, or did it?
Did it have clipping or no? It didn't.
No. People were literally marveling at the fact that some of the shit they pulled off in that game, like when the character takes their shirt off, it happens a few times, but there's no clipping on the shirt. Like the shirt doesn't clip through the skin at all. Like it's like perfect.
That's I know animators for fucking killing themselves doing that shit. Holy shit.
Yeah, dude. Yeah.
Well, they should, because these consoles cost a lot of money. The games cost a lot of money.
Yeah.
And so they need to act like it costs a lot of money.
Mm-hmm.
No, you're right. I'm excited for Valhalla. I'm not calling it Assassin's Creed anymore. I'm about to make that a thing. Yeah. I'm about to make that a thing. I'm excited for Valhalla.
A principled stand. This is an Assassin's Creed.
Because I've been wanting a fucking like Tiara said, Viking game ever since I watched that anime on Vikings. I think it's called Vinland Saga. But ever since I watched that, yeah, I've been wanting a fucking video game on Vikings and shit like that.
Ever since I watched the TV show Vikings, I was like,
or Last Kingdom,
Last Kingdom.
Last Kingdom, I watched it too.
Yeah, I haven't seen any of these things, but
I think
oh my Jesus,
I think their lore is pretty interesting in how they come about. So I'm excited to play a game in that world, and I hope it does it justice. So yeah.
I was actually really excited by the assault mechanics, the like attacking forts and stuff like that. That looks really cool, dude. Like being a part of it, just like this giant melee battle, like in the middle of a like trying to.
But see, that makes sense.
It looks really cool from that perspective.
That's why I'm excited for Valhalla, because in Odyssey, you one man taking down the whole fort. Like, come on now. I don't kill like 30 people.
Weren't there some battles in Odyssey though that were like giant battles that you were a part of? Like it wasn't just you, like you were fighting with like a faction or something like that.
When you're either fighting with the Spartans or the Athenians, when you get the influence down enough. Yeah. But at the same time, it's not the same as like you being a one-man army attacking a fort. That's so unrealistic. I like the fact that if it's a bunch of us attacking a fort, okay, that makes sense.
Okay, so we had a hard cut. Somebody was at Montrell's door. Some nice British old lady. It might be the one that you play in Watch Dogs. I'm not sure, but
could be Kate.
Could be Kate too. We can test that. So Assassin's Creed's coming out on November 17th, they said, which this is the second game now that is coming out that week, along with Cyberpunk. I feel very confident that the consoles are coming that week. At least 100%. One of them will. But do you guys have any other thoughts on Assassin's Creed Valhalla before we move on to the last game they showed?
No, I'm just looking forward. It looks very interesting. I think they should just drop the Assassin's Creed logo, but yeah.
I agree. The assaults look cool.
Yeah.
Oh, and also the dual wielding mechanics look really cool too. Actually.
Yeah, they do. I like how your character looks like a rogue like character. So
fucking monstrous berserker, just two actions. Like I will say the animations were really impressive. I don't want to stick on this too much longer, but like she was like hitting people, kicking them back, throwing both axes into their chest. It was like
I am definitely playing as a female avatar.
Oh my god, me too. Oh, it's so badass. Like. It was so cool. So yeah, no, I gotta give them props for that. That was very impressive. Okay, let's move on. Final part of this Ubisoft Forward was they showed Far Cry 6. They didn't show any gameplay, just a long cinematic trailer, but they did introduce what appears to be the main villain, played by Giancarlo Esposito, the famous actor from Breaking Bad who plays Gus Fring in Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul. So people are super hyped about that. This guy feels perfect to be a Far Cry antagonist based on what they've had in the past. So,
definitely.
hype levels for Far Cry 6.
Yes. I feel like he's gonna play a similar character. Far Cry 6. He's gonna be like the calm, person that doesn't look like the villain, but it's really the criminal mastermind and cut your head off.
I like
give you a Colombian necktie if you.
I like this trend of Far Cry. They really didn't do a good job, in my opinion, Far Cry 5, of having a really compelling villain.
Yeah, it seemed like seemed like a fail. People did not like Far Cry 5 very much.
Yeah. I did like the setting of Far Cry 5. It took place in America. I thought that was really interesting. But I do like this theme of like having these really, really captive, because a lot of video games got away from that, like having this really captivating villain that's ahead of you every step of the way. Like Far Cry 3 was like that. I think that's still one of the best villains as far as that franchise. That villain was I forgot his name, but fuck, he was like really good. The actor was really good, and holy
Which
shit.
one?
Far Cry 3.
He's also in Better Call Saul. He plays Nacho Varga.
Oh shit, really? Fuck.
Yeah. Yeah.
I knew he looked familiar when I was watching Better Call Saul. Holy shit. Yep. Yeah, so that actor's fucking phenomenal. But and that villain was really, he made that villain. Like, I don't think that was the performance of the director. I think that was just like the actor who was just like, yo, I'm about to get into this shit. Mm-hmm. 4 was, that villain was okay. It was more, I remember the controversy behind the cover of that villain.
Yes.
But it was all right. I mean, he was all right. But I think this one, 5, I don't even remember who the villain was at 5, to be honest with you. And then 6,
white guy.
Was it a generic white guy?
I think it wasn't. It just some like crazy, like, I don't know,
like militia dude.
Yeah, then weren't they like a cult or something?
Yeah, I think they're like some kind of militia cult type dude, and they took over a town. And yeah. But this one, I mean, he's gonna obviously, like Tiara said, he's gonna play that calm, stoic, like cunning villain. He always plays those roles really well, and
the gravitas that this guy just conveys when he's speaking is just so.
He's like the perfect villain.
He really is, man. The way he talks and his inflections and just like the pauses he has when he talks, and it's just he's phenomenal. So yeah, no, he'll be very compelling.
Yeah, every fucking role he plays as a villain, he's knocked it out the park. Even when he was in Mandalorian for that one episode, like you felt 2 episodes, I think you felt his presence, and like that's for him to be pretty late in the series of revealing that villain, and he has that much of an impact is really cool. So I'm pretty excited that he got put in the video game now. So I'm waiting. That's gonna be really cool.
Yeah. Tiara, are you excited about this? I mean, you said
Far Cry 6. Yep.
Yeah.
You bet. I think Far Cry has really some of the best single player storylines I've ever played, and so I have very high hopes for Far Cry 6, and I will be getting it next gen.
Well, yeah, it's coming out. They did announce a date for this as well, February 18th, 2021. Yeah. So
everything after November, man, I'm not buying. Even if it comes out in October, I'm just gonna wait to PS5 or Xbox Series X.
Same. Well, I want to say this though. I want to bring this up real quick. Is that so? We've got Watch Dogs the end of October, Assassin's Creed middle of November, and then this game in February. I mean, they are crowding their like 3 of their big franchises right around each other, which feels questionable. You know, I know the timing of development probably pushed this because all these games got delayed a while back.
I was about to say that, like, all of them got delayed. So,
but doesn't it seem like really poor management on their side that they're crowding all 3 of these games together in about a 4-month period? Like that's something you want to avoid generally, you know. And EA learned this the hard way multiple times. So
yeah, I think they have no choice, honestly, because of what they did last year. They had to push everything back. So
yeah. I just feel like one of them might suffer, and it's probably going to be Watch Dogs, if I'm being honest, because that's the lesser of the 3 franchises for sure.
Definitely.
Yeah, definitely, 100%.
So yeah, I just found that interesting. But all right, well, Ubisoft I mean, this has become an Ubisoft podcast this episode. So Ubisoft Forward. They did say there's going to be another one actually in the near future as well. They said they couldn't announce everything they had today, so there will be another one at some point coming up in the future. Because I know there are other games that were announced that were coming out this year that got delayed as well early in the year that they did not talk about in this. So I'll be interested in to see that as well, but we will cover it when it happens. So, all right, let's move on. We're going to transition into the Tencent part of the episode. So we had a story a couple weeks ago where we were talking about Sony potentially buying a company called Leyou Technology, a Chinese company that was a MMO-centric company. They own the company that makes Warframe. And they also own a company that's making a Lord of the Rings MMO. Tencent has come in and done what they do, and they have basically negotiated to have exclusive negotiation rights with Leyou Technologies for the foreseeable future in order to purchase them, basically. So I would be very surprised if they don't purchase them in the next few months. It's just something I wanted to follow up on here because Tencent. I mean, we talked about them a lot on this podcast, and they just continue to like wrap their tendrils slowly around the industry with their money, and it's very like unnerving in my opinion. Because our next story, which I mean, I'll just say this is at the same time, we'll just wrap these together. They basically completely purchased Funcom, who is another MMO developer. But the thing with Funcom is that they own very big licenses in video games, big entertainment license that they have the rights to make games for. So Age of Conan and Dune, they have both of those. And Age of Conan being the big one, that is a big IP to have your hands on. So I don't know. I mean, like I said, we've talked about Tencent a lot, but like, how do you guys feel about
mobile games, baby,
continuing to just buy up all this shit all over the place? Does their money ever run out?
No, man. They're China. What are you talking about? I'm pretty sure they're backed by the Chinese government, and I
God, man, yeah, I know. Well,
at this point they have to be. It makes sense for them.
Comical, dude. It's like every month they buy something new.
I thought it was odd that Sony were even in the talks with the Chinese developer. Like I thought that was just hilarious, and I knew. I didn't say it on podcast, but I thought it in the back of my head, like, man, it'd be funny if Tencent was like, nah, we actually bought them already.
What you talking about, Sony? Get out of here,
And I don't think Sony's pockets are deep enough for.
No, they can't outbid. They're not going to outbid Tencent.
Yeah, they can't. So
particularly for the stable of developers they were going to get, this just feels weird because it is really funny that they were looking into buying an MMO centric. Like set of studios when they literally sold an MMO centric group of studios about 5 or 6 years ago in Sony Online Entertainment. Remember they sold it to Daybreak.
Yep.
And I like what in the last 5 or 6 years has changed your mind about MMOs that you want to get back into that space? Like it's kind of weird.
I think Final Fantasy 14 changed their minds. A lot of people are playing Final Fantasy 14.
Are they?
Yeah, a lot of people playing Final Fantasy 14 on the consoles instead of on PC.
That game is popular.
Yeah, I came across a lot of people.
I may start playing it then.
Yeah, you can. It's tall and it's playable. Like even when I played on PC, I play the controller now because it's playable. Like I tried it, I'm like,
it's totally playable, dude, on controller. Oh, it plays great on controller. I was like, damn, this is really fun. You know? It does get a little unwieldy later on when you have a lot of abilities. More than the controller can kind of handle, but they do a decent job at making it manageable. So
but I think what I think Sony's game plan was, which is probably thwarted now by Tencent, but I think they were going to try to get back into the online space. Like they were going to try to make a online, persistent online shooter or whatever, so they can have a steady cash flow come in to support them. So I mean, it makes sense.
Well, I don't know. These stories are starting to make me nervous. I feel like Tencent's moving on something. It just doesn't feel right.
They're gonna come up with their own console.
Yeah, no, they're gonna buy Sony or Nintendo or something. It's like
no, that would never happen.
I don't know if their pockets are that deep, but it's like Yeah, man. So, all right. Anyways, let's move on to our final story. Is a delay. We talked about Crucible a couple weeks ago, how that game was a disastrous launch. Well, Amazon's other game, New World, their MMO has been delayed. It was supposed to come out this year. It is now coming out in spring of 2021. I would not be surprised if this one gets delayed again because I don't know about this game. What do you guys think about this one?
I honestly forgot about it until you just mentioned it just now.
Me too. Dude, it's just the concept when they initially announced it that it was going to be an MMO that takes place in colonial times sounds really cool. And then they started showing trailers for it, and there's all these like undead monsters running around and shit. And I'm like, what the? Like, it's like fucking like Roman soldiers and shit. Like, what the fuck are you guys doing with this? What is this game?
You gotta
like,
make it interesting.
I don't think so. I would rather play a legit straight-laced MMO that takes place in the colonial America. Like,
nah, I'm good on that.
That sounds a lot more fun to me than what they're trying to do here. Like, they're trying to gamify this, and it's like, I'm whatever. I'd rather they go like the sandbox route where it's like really role play, you know. That would have been a lot more interesting to me. So I don't know. I'm starting to feel like this game's not even going to come out. So I wouldn't be surprised. Amazon feels like they're just eating shit on their game development so far. So,
well, they don't put enough effort into it because me and Tiara was supposed to play Crucible, and now I completely forgot about that shit. I'm like, oh fuck, I was supposed to play Crucible.
We were like, what's the game that Amazon made again? We couldn't think of it.
You guys should have just texted me.
Yeah, we forgot about it, and now I don't even know where to find it. Is it PC only?
I think so.
Okay.
Oh, okay. We can't play it.
Yeah, we can't play it then.
Okay.
Yeah, because she doesn't have. Yeah, I don't think she has a PC yet. So.
Well, yeah, I do, but my gaming laptop broke. So until that gets fixed, I'm out of commission.
Yeah.
On that front.
Well, New World delayed.
We're gonna be one of those 300 players.
Yeah, 300. All right, well, that's all I got for news, guys. Unless you got something else you want to talk about, get off your chest.
Speaking of controllers for MMOs,
yes,
Blizzard announced that Shadowlands will have controller support for WoW.
Oh boy.
And you can already imagine how much of a shitstorm the forums were for that shit.
Well, I saw a story that this made me literally laugh out loud, that they wanted to make World of Warcraft an RPG again. I was like, what? Oh, so you admit it now that it's not an RPG. Okay, great.
What is it then?
I don't fucking know. It's like Diablo 3, dude. It's like a loot game. There's no RPG. It's just a loot game, you know? So
I read an article that said that PlayStation is ramping up production of the PS5, and they're expecting it to be like a Switch type situation, that now that the pandemic is extended and people going back into lockdown, that when the next gen consoles come out, they're expecting it to sell out like the Switch. So they're ramping up production.
They better. I saw these articles as well. I didn't put them in the news because I don't know, but they better be careful because they have not announced the price, and that is going to determine.
That's true.
That is true.
Because if I'm not working, or PS5 may not be in my price range.
Yeah, they need to realize too, early on in the pandemic, people still had money. I mean, 8 months into it, I don't know if people are going to be wanting to drop $600 on a new console. So
right,
they got to be careful.
That, before the Switch was selling out, it was selling under $300.
Yes, right,
exactly.
And this console is going to cost what, $500, $550, maybe $600, like that. Yeah, so they better be careful with those projections, and they might have a PS3 situation on their hands where these things are fucking everywhere. They're easy to find, and they have too much supply. So I don't know. I'm wary about it, but we're gonna find out more very soon. They're getting to a point where they cannot. I don't think they can get out of July without announcing price. Like they have to. Like they just have to. I don't know about release date.
I think both consoles need to start. Both carriers.
I'm expecting the Xbox conference to have a price for the Xbox.
Okay, yeah, that's true.
Like, I think that the thing next week will have that. So I would be very surprised if it doesn't.
Yeah, I did hear something about a state of play happening around that time too next week.
I think it'll be after the Xbox thing.
Yeah, I heard about a rumor like they're like, yeah, they're ramping up for a state of play and all that shit. So maybe at the state of play, they
they definitely would.
Yeah.
I even think a release date would be possible too.
Well, when I was talking about Death Stranding, and you both were like, "Well, that's a game that I'll play on PC." Well, your wish is granted. It's officially out. So you two should go play Death Stranding.
I mean, I own it on PlayStation 4, so I'm not gonna buy it on PC.
I don't have it yet, so I may play it on PC. So I might buy it on PC.
Yeah.
Oh, I do want to apologize to everybody.
You didn't play it?
No, I mean,
Travesty.
I have a million games to play. Are you kidding me?
Travesty.
I have a stack of games that I've talked about this many times in the past. It's like 2 feet high. I don't have time for shit like Death Stranding. This game's like 60 hours.
Well, why did you buy it then?
I didn't buy it. Somebody bought it for me. It was like a present.
I do apologize to people who were following me today. I had a mini rant and shit like that.
Dude, that was my mood, so I'm with you. I'm with you, man.
Yeah, I just wanted to explain it to everybody. I was upset because a person I follow, I don't know if he's like super known out there, but he has a huge following. He has like 16,000 followers and stuff like that. And he broke into the gaming world as far as like getting exclusive deals and getting exclusive breaks, and he gets reviewer codes and all this shit to actually, reviewing people, listen to his opinion on video games. And he completely fucked it up. And he admitted that he fucked it up, and he's leaving the industry altogether. It wasn't any sexual allegation type thing or anything like that. It was just that he fucked up the opportunities that he had, and then what was so upsetting to me about it was that he had multiple times. The people forgave him multiple times, and he just continually fucked up. And I was upset because there are people like us in this podcast, and there are other podcasts and other small YouTubers and indie journalists and all this shit that are actually knowledgeable in games that want to break into the industry and try to get in and try to make big, but we have to listen to these super corporate shills and all this other shit like that. And he had an opportunity. He has that opportunity. He completely fucked it up, and I was upset about that. So I apologize to everybody about that rant. I'm not deleting it though, but it still stands. That's how I feel. But I apologize to people, and I'll try to do better next time.
Hey man, fair enough. I mean, you got to get things off your chest sometimes, dude. Like, trust me, like I said, that was my mood, man. I was thinking similar things this week. I didn't have a person in mind that like you were, but like I don't know. Like I see, like I was talking about Ghost of Tsushima. I just feel like there's like a hive mind that like happens with these games, these big games. Like they all agree with each other, like it's so annoying to me that there's like very few dissenting voices in games coverage. It feels like that's true a lot of the time, and
there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong if a game's not objectively good, because games are art and everything's subjective. But if a game is 90% good and you're just hating if the game's bad, right? Like I get that, and I understand like if everyone loves a fucking game. But then I don't know, you have like people who have larger platforms, like Ghost of Tsushima was really good, so I'm not going to use that, or not really good, but I haven't played the game yet. But yeah, for the majority of people say that, right? But then we say something like, this is the greatest example. I'm not going to mention the podcast, but a lot of people already know who I'm talking about. Star Wars Battlefront 2. When that game came out, and the microtransactions were fucking egregious. Everyone and their mother agreed the microtransactions are egregious. Satan can come up from hell, play this game like, yo, this shit is egregious. You get on the podcast, you have a very popular podcast / YouTube channel, and you get on that channel and everyone looks towards your opinion and you're like, I don't see nothing a problem with that. And then a year or two later, you're like hosting that same company's fucking events and their E3 events and stuff like that. It looks real shady, and no one calls them out on that shit. And it's like
they congratulate them, dude.
No one calls them out on that shit. And it's like, how can you get information from these people? And I understand people need connections and stuff like that nature, but like it gets to a certain point now to where like people's integrity and their opinions are like fucking skewed because of the connections they make. Like they're not going to give an honest opinion on the game. Yeah. Like if we ever get sponsored some shit like that, say like if I get sponsored from like fucking, I don't know, Bethesda, right? And we get a sponsor and they come out with Elder Scrolls 6 and that shit's trash. Guess what? I'm gonna say like, yo, Elder Scrolls, this shit's trash. Like Elder Scrolls 6 is trash. So
yeah, I'm not gonna change my opinion about their games all of a sudden.
Yeah, exactly. And I feel like a lot of people do that, but not only on the industry side, but us as listeners, because I'm a victim of it. I mean, not a victim of it. I'm a person who does it too. Like I will get mad at people who have the same opinions, but then go right back to them. Like I read the same articles, I read the same Kotaku articles, I read the same Polygon articles, and it's like I'm not looking for the indie articles and everything like that have different opinions or maybe a realistic approach of video games, and that's my fault. And I'm trying to change that about myself as well. But I feel like us as a whole, gamers as a whole, if we're so tired of, because I see it all the time. I know you've seen it, Tiara. I know you've seen it, Justin, where people would complain about journalists not knowing how to play video games, or YouTubers having the same fucking opinions, or they're just wrong about the opinions of the games they did, but we'll go right back and watch them. Like,
well, dude, it's like a click. Because The Last of Us 2 is the game I'm thinking of here, where the games media fucking love The Last of Us 2. Like the actual sites, like the major websites, they mostly loved The Last of Us 2 and gave it like really high scores. And then YouTube, they all hated The Last of Us 2. It's like what the fuck? What is that? Like how that just seems like a really weird coincidence. It's like very strange to me. So I see what you mean. And that moment that you were talking about with that show with Battlefront 2, that's the reason I'm doing this podcast right now. I got so mad at that it basically turned me off from video game podcasts for like a year, to the point where I was like, I need to talk about games myself, because I don't, these people, like, I don't trust them. And I barely listen to video game podcasts anymore, when I used to be really into them. And the group of people that is still around, they've been around for a long time, 10 years, a lot of them. And there's been new people that have cropped up in the last few years, but it's, the thing is, they get accepted into that crowd and they're part of that crowd all of a sudden. And I feel like that crowd is just, I feel like their opinions have almost run their course. I know what they're going to say. Like they don't bring interesting conversations to the table for me most of the time, very rarely anymore when I hear them, and it's frustrating, because it's
like a lot of the podcasts, a lot of video games. Like if I listen to smaller podcasts like ours and stuff like that, like it's hard to find like an all girl podcast, right? And I'm gonna get their opinions on video games, or it's hard to find just like a small group of guys podcast or some shit like that on video games. And I like hearing different opinions on it. That's why I'm glad we brought Tiara on, because I like hearing her opinion on it, on video games, compared to like me and your opinion for the last 2 years, right? Like it's such a fresh thing to get. But like these other podcasts, man, they just I don't fucking know. And it's not attack on other podcasts, it's just these bigger podcasts, I should say. Like you get to a point where you're just like, all right guys, we already know what you're gonna say before you say it,
right? So
I don't know,
just predictable stuff, predictable content. So
yeah, but I apologize about that. I mean, I bitched, but at the same time, I know I need to try harder, we as a collective need to try harder, and that's why I swear to do next time, or from here on out.
Yep. Good talk.
Good
all right.
talk.
Well, that's gonna be it for us. So if you like this episode, please like the episode, review the episode, and subscribe to the show on whatever feed you're listening to it on. And if you could, share it with your friends. We want to grow the audience. If you'd like to talk to any of us on Twitter, you can do so at iTrap for the Hokage, for Montrell. That is the number 4, not the word. Tiara is at Victorian Jedi. I am at Thundernut01, and the show is at The Player's Take. If you'd like to send us a question, you can do so on Twitter, or you can send us an email to theplayerstake01@gmail.com. Next week, like I mentioned early in the episode, actually, did I mention this early in the episode? I think I forgot to mention this early in the episode. So next week is the Xbox Games Showcase. It is happening on Thursday. So we are pushing the show back a day. We're going to be recording on Friday and posting the show on Saturday. So expect that to go up Saturday morning rather than Friday morning. We want to make sure we get that in next week. We don't want to wait a week on that since it's going to be such a big thing. It's probably going to be the whole episode too. I would assume. That's my expectation. So we may cover other things if there's some stuff in there, but depending on what it is, we might push it to the week after. So, but expect that next Saturday, not Friday. So just wanted to give you guys, inform you guys on that so you're not taken aback. So that's it for us. We hope you enjoyed this episode, and we will see you on the next one. All right. Bye, guys.